Welcome people, and welcome to another episode of Hors. Today we are in Brixton. You'll see by the B-roll. We're going to check a Bossman in a corner shop and see what £5 can get you in this day and age. Will I be able to get a decent £5 munch like I did many a year ago? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. The inflation is a bit wild. But before we get into that, let's get into the Crep chat, yeah? Boom, bow. On for today, I got a Nike Air Max Plus, aka TM, in what I like to call the slightly minted colorway. You can see the mint, you can see the length fades, you can see the honeycomb meshington on the underlay with the TPU faded overlays. Very leng, as most TNs are, but particularly my selection and this one for today. Now let's go and check those. Can't lie, the crisp selection is kind of dead. Okay. You good? Cool.
Buy me a drink.
What's that?
Buy me a drink.
It depends. What drink you want?
I want a bit of beer.
Nah, I can't do that.
I'll water then.
Alright, cool. I'll see. What water do you prefer?
Alright, man.
Shake easy.
I keep up the good work, yeah?
Safe, bro. Thinking I could just slap it on here and we can go over everything. So, boom. Quavers, prawn cocktail. Mountain Dew. Citrus Blast. Squashies. Bubblegum flavour. And an orange chopper chop. Which I'm not going to get into. But the reason for this is it does work as a perfect palate cleanser. Nice, citrusy, orange flavour. Cuts through whatever flavours were left over. Leaves a nice sweet hint of orange and such. First and foremost, I do need to tuck into the juice. I am rather parched. This being one of the few juices left where they don't compromise on sugar, I'm involved. Has a nice, I'd say overall the flavour is quite limey, but it's a very subdued limey. It's not too strong, not too heavy. I'm sure they got lemon in there as well. It doesn't tell you what the actual flavourings are. It just says flavorings, but quite limey, but a smooth one, not too acidic, not too heavy, perfectly sweet. And speaking of sweet, let's get into the sweets real quick. Squashies. What I do like about these particularly, you have two halves. The blue half is the softer, squidgier half. It's less chewy. It's more, when I say less chewy, it's less gelatinous. So you don't have the, I don't know what else to call it beyond, okay, buoyancy. The springiness of the gelatin, the bounce back, if you will, that you get on the pink half, which is a lot more chewy. And I feel like each half does have a slightly different flavor as well. The pink half is a bit more, I want to say raspberry-ish. The blue half, I don't know, it's that tutti fruity flavor that is fairly ambiguous. Nevertheless, this is one of my favorite sweets. Squashies, overall, I'm going to say is a fairly stupendous confectionery. I'll give Squashies You know what? They're really like a 4.6.
Yes, winning.
I feel like they are the offspring of a now discontinued sweet, which I've asked to be brought back, and they said no, it's not happening. Roundtree's Random's Squidgy Speak. That blue half I was talking about, where it has that squidginess to it, but it's fairly dense. It's a bit like I'd say between a nougat and marshmallow, if that makes sense. It's a weird one. Now, this is a fairly new flavor. I say that the new thing is gone because it was new before. Actually, I'm saying this, they might have dropped it years ago, actually. And when I say years, I mean all like 12 years plus. But it could be a retro. I think it's a retro because I feel like I've had it as a youth when I was in school at one point. Nevertheless, it's here once again in big form. If you're familiar with Quavers, you know what's going on here. I don't know what they just. I think they might just fry it and it just turns out this shape. It does look a bit like pork scratchings, but what was the original? What was it in the beginning? Because I know if you cut a bit of pork fat or rind, skin, whatever, and you fry it, it'll look like this. But what was this before it became this? Quavers, let us know. Fairly light. Well and evenly seasoned. Flavoring is not too heavy, which it can be with prawn cocktail. It could be very acidic. I can't lie. I feel like they have changed the recipes. Something's happened here. I can see the edges are a lot sharper than they once were. I don't remember them having such straight edges and actual corners. They've done something here. And even if you look at the full exterior, it's flat and blistered as opposed to being as porous and what was it before? Before it was I say a lot crunchier, but it was more porous. Now it's like blistered skin, but before I remember it looking like there was just more holes in it, like the blisters all popped. So it does have a lot more of a snap than it used to. You see how rough it is. That texture is not reflected in, like, you see the roughness of it is because of the, you know, what I was calling the popped blisters. Here, hella smooth. Oh my God. Bare smooth. I can't say I necessarily like it more than its previous texture, but the flavors are nice. Overall, I'd say, especially considering what it used to be right about now, yeah, it's almost silkier in a weird way. Flavors. Prawn cocktail can hold the 3.7.
It's a bit of a sticky one.
That's what it actually is. That was us here today in Brixton. Me going over some random bits of food. New episodes of Actual Chicken coming very soonish. In the meantime, here's something to see and look at in case you haven't had this before. Or the juice, or the squashies. I'm sure everyone's had the squashies. Everyone knows their length by now. But if you didn't know, now you know. In the meantime, I'm gone. So have a look around Brixton.
Stupendous confectionery.